MLB insider Jeff Passan has just dropped a massive Jays free agency update. And as winter meetings get closer and closer, we have some huge updates specifically surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays' pursuit of Bichette and Kyle Tucker. We're to break down these new reports and discuss what it means going forward. But not only that, we have a ton of other updates from a variety of reporters surrounding the Jays and another signing that happened late last night that has massive implications specifically on the Jays' pursuit of a reliever. A ton to go over on this episode, folks. You're going to want to stay tuned until the very end of the video because there's some crazy stuff. But before we get into it all, if you're a part of the percentage or aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. Now, folks, it has been a crazy past few days. There's a lot of signings slowly but surely starting to happen here, and we have some big updates from Jeff Passan as he dropped some very interesting tidbits specifically surrounding the Jays' pursuit of not only Bichette, but Kyle Tucker and their overall plan. And let's start with this. Now, he was going on, I believe this is, Blue Sky, and there's just a bunch of different stuff that was going on, but we'll start with the first one. So he was asked, are the Jays done after the Dylan Cease signing? Do we think Bo comes back? And he said, they are not done. They're going to get a big bat too. Maybe it's Bichette, maybe it's Bellinger, maybe it's Tucker. Now, when Jeff Passan speaks, we have a ton more updates to go over here, and we'll focus on Bichette a little bit as well in this video, though a full video is coming on Bichette probably later today into tomorrow, but regardless, he's saying that they are not done and that they are going to get a big bat. Now, when Jeff Passan speaks, like I just said, we listen. And for him to be confident in saying that they're going to get a big bat too is very encouraging because a lot of things are happening now. We know they need a reliever. We know they absolutely need another big bat, and it could be Bichette, it could be Tucker. It seems like, according to multiple reports, and John Morosi reported yesterday, that it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to get both Tucker and Bichette. Now, crazier things have happened. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the case, though, at this point. And Schneider also dropped a report last night indicating that as well. But for Jeff Passan to say this is very important. And again, this is the most notable reporter in the game. And he was also asked about the general consensus on Kyle Tucker. And he said, the market for the best free agent in the class could stretch into the new year potentially. At the end of the day, nobody can make a team better like Tucker. And whether it's Toronto, Philadelphia, either of the New York teams, or perhaps one that misses out on the rest of the top players in the class, his price will be met and he'll get a deal worth more than $300 million with an even higher ceiling possible. So this is also very notable. Now, he once again puts Toronto as the top team there. And based on all these reports from, there was a lot of reports yesterday, but just what we've heard over the past few days, it seems like it's going to be one or the other for the Jays, and whoever they strike out on, for one, they'll get the other guy. So in my mind, they're either going to get Tucker or Bichette, right? Or, Cody Bellinger, you can throw him into the loop because that's what he said. I'm not super high on Bellinger compared to some of the other guys, but again, maybe Bo and Bellinger could make some sense because you get two impact bats then rather than Kyle Tucker. But I personally would prefer Kyle Tucker over Bichette in a vacuum. Now, there is intangible stuff there. Vladdy and Bo playing together, all these different things. I'd say the front office will probably lean towards Bo just because he's going to be cheaper. But at the same time, 10 years, $300 million, people were expecting his contract to potentially exceed $400 million. So for Jeff Passan to come out and say that is pretty interesting. And it's something that cannot be taken lightly, right? We know how good Kyle Tucker is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And you look at how he would fit into this team right now, and left field, right? Or some outfield spot, left or right field, of course, one of the corner outfields. And we talk about a trade for Nathan Lucas. You figure out a way to get Kyle Tucker on this team if that's the case. But it's very notable that Passan is confirming essentially that they're going to get one of Tucker or Bichette, or potentially Bellinger is an option as well. Maybe it's Bo and Bellinger. Of course, there's a lot of different avenues here. But it's very notable for him to be saying this. And there's been some predictions lately. This one's from Ben Verlander. He has the Jays getting Tucker and Bichette, which would be crazy. But I wanted to bring this up because people know the Jays are going all in. And it's not just for show like it was in previous years, or people will call it leverage, right? This is the real deal here. And they are going to go all out. And Jeff Passan now, for the second week in a row, reporting that the Jays are absolutely going to get a big bat. I promise you guys, you probably won't be disappointed if you end up encouraged by this, right? And if you end up kind of believing what Passan's saying. So he doesn't usually, back down on some of this stuff. And Tucker also, or Passan also gave some insight on Bichette and talking about how Bo is the best available bat behind Tucker and Schwarber. And, he has him going back to Toronto and could approach $200 million. We'll have a full video covering this because that is actually a very interesting, tidbit there. But at the end of the day, we know a lot of other teams aren't willing to pay. I mean, I covered this in yesterday's video, but the Yankees kind of preparing their fan base for a bit of disappointment. And Devin Williams just signed with the New York Mets last night. He's no longer a New York Yankee, so they couldn't keep him around. Who knows? And we'll dive into that in a minute. Who knows how much they wanted to keep him around? But the Jays seem like favorites to bring Bichette back. But the way that Jeff Passan is speaking, it's one or the other. And of course, whether he moves off of shortstop or not, that's going to be the big thing. But at the end of the day here, folks, they're going to go all in on one, if not both, or one, if not both of, they're going to go probably all in after both and really end up with one of them. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. A quick note as well, just on the Japanese stars. So, the Jays were linked to a lot of them, whether that be Murakami, whether that be Tetsuya Imai. You can see this here. The posting window ends December 22nd. The market for right-hander Tetsuya Imai is moving, and some executive expect him to come off the board in Orlando. The third big name is, of course, Kazuma Okamoto, must sign by January 4th. So there are some dates for you all to kind of, sink your teeth into. The Jays, I mean, I don't expect them to be heavily in on any of them. Okamoto is very interesting. I mean, Murakami, there's not a lot of room for the Jays at this point. I can't imagine they're going to go after, Tetsuya Imai because they got Dylan Cease, but just some interesting notes there. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on all of that, because again, their starting pitching staff is pretty solid as is, projected to have the second highest steamer F4 in baseball. But speaking of pitchers, ladies and gentlemen, a new report dropped. Now, I don't have the full tweet for you, but Devin Williams signed a 3-year, $50 million deal with $5 million deferred. So for all intents and purposes, 3 years, $45 million. And people thought that meant the Mets now are going to be out of the sweepstakes to re-sign Edwin Diaz because the Jays are going to be in on him, but it's not the case. So the Mets are still interested in re-signing Edwin Diaz, even after agreeing to terms with Devin Williams, per source. Williams is open to pitching in a setup role. So the reliever market is absolutely moving. So Devin Williams now is signed to a pretty hefty deal, about $15 million prior to deferral per year. And this has a lot of people thinking now for the Jays, get Devin Williams or get Edwin Diaz. The Jays need another reliever. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? You look at their bullpen right now, it's not great, and it needs to be better. And I want to do everything in the power to move Jeff Hoffman to a setup role, at least at this point. But, I mean, Pete Fairbanks is a name that's been thrown out there a lot. He seems like the more obvious option for the Jays. But, if I'm the Jays, I'm all in on Edwin Diaz. It would fill a clear need. He's by far the best reliever available. And I wanted Devin Williams. He's a clear, not buy low guy, but someone that we know could be really good. And now in the last 48 hours, there's been two signings. Ryan Helsley, Baltimore Orioles, 2 years, $28 million, and Devin Williams, 3 years, $45 million. So Robert Suarez is next, and Edwin Diaz is next. We're going to have to see what they do there because a lot of things are expected to happen quickly here, whether that be Kyle Tucker being a little bit more delayed. Kyle Schwarber, according to John Morosi, is going to sign before Kyle Tucker, and Morosi hints at the fact that they're headed towards a winter meeting signing extravaganza, which we've seen in previous years as well. I expect, though, the Jays to make their next move, it being a reliever. But what does Ross Atkins have up his sleeve? We've seen him do crazy things before, whether that be making a surprise trade for a reliever, could be Pete Fairbanks, or it could be Edwin Diaz. A lot of things are on the horizon, and we'll keep you up to date every step of the way. Let me know down below your thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you later.